Okay, we're rolling. So, what extreme isolation has done for me over the years? I'm not here to gain your sympathy, you feel sorry for me, or I'm sad, lonely, depressed. No, this is not that video. This might help somebody who's maybe isolated and they're just isolated. Maybe they don't have social skills. Maybe they're socially awkward. They just love being by themselves. They are alone, socially isolated. They talk to nobody. I have been in your boat, or probably still I am. But it's a very different video because all my life I've been very social, always had very good friends, very popular in school. I never had in high school, never had these problems. In elementary, whatever you want to call it, primary school or middle school, whatever. Never had those problems. Always been the cool dude, popular dude. I got always had a cute girlfriend. Was doing cool stuff on the weekends, socializing, played the social dynamics to an extent. Let me correct myself, to an extent. Outside of school, that was me. In school, I was probably, now that I think about it, yeah, probably a little bit more antisocial in some way. I was a class clown. I'll make class clown jokes. I'll be a goofball. I'll probably beat you up, stuff like that. But as far as like socializing, making new friends with every single person and so on, that was probably not me. And we'll dive into those things. So what happened over the years? This is what happened. Um, I'll first say this. I think I have been depressed, maybe when I was 14, but that was because I had no money. I had no money, so I was sad. That's the root of my depression. I kind of cured that, because I made some. But it started when I moved to a new place and I knew nobody, and the games began. And I found that I needed to be competent not only to make it through life, but to survive. At the natural essence of human beings, innate instinct is to survive. So not only did I have to be competent outside of just existence, I had to be competent just to make it to see the next day. And probably that's where isolation began. Uh, there was no social awareness to make friends to begin with. Friends to have fun, to socialize, to talk to. No, I needed to survive. I needed to eat. My stomach is touching. Where am I going to sleep? That's kind of the situation I was put in. So that's where it began. As time went by, I I interacted with people, very much so. Interacted with them, but it was always transactional. So I had a clear objective. What am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep? Okay, cool. I need to solve that. So every single person I'm talking to, if they do not help me attain or reach this objective, they're probably worthless to me. That's where it began. So moving forward, and I'm not trying to glorify this. Let me just say this. I'm not trying to glorify this and talk this up. I'm just speaking from the perspective of an introvert. Actually, somebody who was, rather extroverted. An extrovert, somebody cool, fun, but ended up becoming an introvert due to circumstance or whatever it is. So I want to talk about the cons of this approach towards life. Easily, it's obvious that you're not going to be very socially relatable to a lot of people, especially if you're younger. Your peers just want to have a very sociable, fun peer group where you can laugh. So you can't socially relate to people. Um, you have different things that you find funny, different goals, and other people's problems just don't seem too significant to you. Maybe the problems that they have are not relatable to you because you have a very different worldview. And then I have always never been the type to appeal to social norms and try to socially rank. This has just been consistent with me. I remember back in high school, uh, I went to a place where they call the ruling class among you prefects. So it was kind of like a big deal. It's kind of like a big deal to have more responsibility than your peers. So for you to gain those responsibilities, you probably need to be you need to play the games. Like, in corporate America, the games they play at your job, if you're just working, at a restaurant, warehouse, an office, anywhere, they're like social games you really need to play to get ranked in that lobby. And I've just never been the type to appease to authority. You know, am I narcissistic? Maybe. Maybe I am. Yeah, I know I am, but never been the type to appease to authority. Why? Because maybe I feel I'm better than them. Maybe that's one thing. Why would I not want to appease you if in my mind, I'm better than you? Why should I impress you? Right? Um, so I'm saying the cons, a little bit of the cons, but those are pros too. If you're a narcissist because you're an introvert or whatever, it could help you a lot, but sometimes it could hurt you. But these are the cons. So that's one of the cons too. Uh, so clearly, I'm not like the suicidal type of guy. I'm not like a geek, a nerd that is always in his room reading, or any of that stuff, or socially anxious, can't have a conversation. I'm actually very extroverted. Actually, in the times I was feeling alone the most, I would go to a place I know they have the thing that is going to help me get to the thing I want. I'll be very social, very extroverted. I know how to read the room. I know how to walk in, immediately absorb the energy, understand that, okay, these are the social dynamics here, and I'll play them with ease. But uh, the moment we like get to settle, sit down, and whatever is happening there is going on, I will feel alone in that room. It's like an empty void. It's we're performing. It's performative. We all got masks on. Um, so I say this because it leads me to a few things. Some of the pros of this. My natural gifts were maybe being extroverted. Uh, my natural gifts were, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking, I had some natural gifts. You know, but I say this because I have been able to attain more skills than I was gifted naturally. That's what I'm trying to say. When I was young, I played a lot of soccer. I became extremely good that I was the captain of the soccer team. Does that make me a star naturally gifted at soccer? No. It just happened, and I was like very gifted at it. Apparently, after playing with my friends a lot, I became very gifted at that. Making music. Am I naturally gifted at that? I probably doubt it. I have multiple attempts when I'm recording. I record stuff a bunch of times. So it's not like I'm just freestyling in one take. But I get it done. Uh, During extreme isolation, I picked up a few skills. A few skills, very rigorous talents, engineering talents. I took the time to get an engineering, uh, not degree, it's a certification in aerodynamics. How did that happen? I was very isolated. I needed stuff to do. I also contributed to a few, open source projects within software. These are not my skills. It just happened because you're isolated. You're going out there. You're getting things done. It was very transactional. Probably still is very transactional. The repercussions of this is You have not built anything meaningful with anybody in a long time. A lot of people don't know who I am, and that's fine. In my mind, that's fine until you really need people. So if you're isolated, you might be doing fantastic things. You might think you're finding who you really are. You don't have to pretend. You know who you are because you're analyzing, you're reading, you're attaining things, you're doing things. But there's an element you miss being around people. And I'm not making this video saying these things because I am lonely or I'm sad. No, I'm a practical person. I am a competent person. And I understand you need people with anything you're ever going to do. Even if you're isolated, at some point you're doing something to feed yourself that involves people. Even if you don't like it, you have to do it to survive so you can stay isolated. You have to interact with people. And for me, I prioritize competence, getting things done. And during my existential crisis during this phase, I developed the philosophy of life that's unique. That's a video for another time. So you will need people, and it's the small things that count. It's the small things that count, like waking up, getting somebody a coffee, even if they never asked for it, just giving it to them because you care. And over time, building these little small things you do for somebody, you know, being there for them when they, just being there for them. Uh, yeah, I don't mean to sound like a pathetic soft boy, but I overlooked these things in my journey when I shouldn't have. When I shouldn't have. Uh, Not because I'm a good person and I was lost or whatever. No, that's not the situation. Oh, that was not the case. It was just convenient to be alone and to think I am this machine that will overcome anything put in front of me, which I am. But it's not the most effective way. Being lonely or alone or whatever is not effective. I came to find for at least my goals, the things that I'm trying to accomplish. Maybe selfishly, it's not effective. Uh, for somebody who feels alone or lonely or isolated, that's fine too. But just understand that you're comfortable in that situation, and if you think that's the way you should proceed, and you love it, you love your comfort that way, that's fine too. But if you're somebody who cares not only about themselves, because that if you only care about yourself and nothing else, you know, it's hard to contribute to anything within the society. But if you understand that it takes people to do things, you don't want to be that old person when you grow old and just have nobody around you because you're just not social. Or and no, again, no mean to sound like a fucking girl. Don't sound like a fucking girl. But it is what it is. You will be alone at some point. And if you have like a grander vision of thinking long term and all these good things, yeah, I do think being social is not instrumental, it's everything. Isolation is pathetic. It's just you're like a worm, a squirrel in a box. You don't want to talk to people. You have OD. You start imagining things. It's pathetic. And trust me, I'd rather be isolated. I'd rather be isolated. But I understand that we're on this planet with 7 billion people. What am I doing? What am I doing to myself? So shout out to you for watching this video this far, if you watched it this far. But I felt I needed to make this. Something came upon me. It was put upon my soul to say these things. And yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. So I think it doesn't help. I do think you shouldn't just go out there and aimlessly talk to people too. That's pathetic. But I think if you're smart enough to be isolated, you're also smart enough to realize the dangers of it. And once you realize the dangers of it, you're probably still smart enough, you know, to create a balance. That's all I have to say.